Good morning and welcome back to the Morning Breath live stream, where we start our day with coherence. I'm your host, Jeremy Tennell, systems designer and coherence coach. This is the end of week 3, day 15 of the path of personal transformation. Today marks the completion of ownership. Over the past week, we've explored the concept of ownership through boundaries, responsibility, repair, and discipline. And today I want to anchor our work in breath. Breath is the space where awareness becomes choice, and choice becomes ownership. It is our literal internal orientation tool. This week's theme of ownership is not a concept about possession, but of practice that we return to daily. Monday was the topic of boundaries. Boundaries clarify what is mine to carry and what is not. They create clear structure for coherence in our lives. Tuesday was the topic of responsibility. Responsibility gave us the ability to choose how we respond. It introduced the pause between stimulus and response. Wednesday was the topic of repair. Repair reminds us we will not always get everything right, but we can restore alignment when we fall short. Thursday was the topic of discipline. Discipline grounds everything in consistent action, and it determines whether our spirals move outward into growth or inward into regret. For today's integration, all of these tools rely on one thing: the ability to create and hold space. Without space, we lean into reaction. We blur responsibility. We avoid repair, and we abandon discipline. Ownership requires space to operate, and space is your tool to create and to manifest. Breath is often treated as automatic, something the body just does. But breath is more than respiration. Breath is an engagement tool within our own bodies. It is something we can consciously participate within, simply by turning our awareness towards it. Breath creates a literal internal space. It's actually happening as you breathe. A space where you can utilize it in order to bring awareness into the arising reactions that happen and slow them down, and create choice and possibilities. Inside every breath cycle is the inhale, which is expansion, and the exhale, which is contraction. And on either side of those is the space in between. With the inhale, we are receiving. We are leaning into our awareness. We are grounding into presence, and we are taking in information, breath. With our exhale, we are releasing, we are letting go, we are responding. That space that's in between is stillness, it is pause, it is potential, it is possibility. This is where ownership lives. The breath is a rhythmic system that is always present. It is one of the few systems in the body that is both automatic and consciously influenceable. When we observe the breath, it receives clear systemic signals. We can feel the tension that's rising. We can engage the calm. We can observe the agitation, and we can influence all of it through self-regulation. Each of these have a specific frequency. Each of these ideas, these emotions, these somatic responses. And breath helps us read the state of our internal system and the frequency that is rising within us. Breath regulates the flow of energy through our body, literally. It influences heart rate, nervous system activation, temperature regulation. Conscious breathing redirects all of these flows in one spiraling direction or another, inward or outward. Breath becomes a point of access into our internal system and the external system beyond us, depending where we point our awareness. Instead of trying to control thoughts directly, we influence the systems through the breath to shift the emotional, somatic, and regulatory conditions towards a different outcome. Breath supports boundaries by creating space before overextension. It supports responsibility by slowing reaction into response. It supports repair by regulating emotion before reconnecting. And it supports discipline by anchoring consistent daily practice. Breath is not separate from the work. Breath is the foundation of the work. It is the space where awareness becomes possible, choice becomes accessible, ownership of ourselves becomes real. Today, I want you to take your journals at some point, and I want you to reflect. When do I notice myself losing space and moving into reaction? What changes when I bring my attention back to my breath? How might I breathe as a daily tool to support boundaries, response, repair, and discipline? We're going to do an exercise today that's a little different with breath for 5 minutes. And at some point today, I want you on your own to take 5 minutes and repeat this by yourself. And I want you to journal about it. I want you to observe what you find through the exercise that we're about to do. So let's go ahead and get into a comfortable position. And we're going to place our hands on our heart because we're targeting this area of our body. But today, instead of engaging a positive emotional state through an inventory in our head, which is usually gratitude, I find that to be one of the easiest. Today, what we're going to do is we're just going to bring awareness to the breath through our breath exercise. So let's take 2 deep breaths and exhale with a sigh. So let's start there. Let's breathe in and out. Feel the vibration in your chest as you exhale. In and out. Let's breathe in one more time. Roll your shoulders, relax your face, drop your shoulders. Breathe in, out with a sigh. And now we're going to turn the sigh into a low hum. And we're going to do this just 4 or 5 times on our own. So here we go. In. I want you to feel the resonance through your body, through your chest with your hand. Okay. We've done those because I just want you to kind of experiment with different ways of engaging the breath and understanding, feeling what it's doing in the body. So now what we're going to do is we're going to do something that maybe looks a little silly, but nobody's around. So you're going to breathe in, and when you exhale, you're going to exhale way beyond the amount of time that you inhaled. You're going to exhale to the point where you can literally feel yourself compressing your lungs as you pull your chest and your stomach and your belly in. You're going to feel that compression. And in fact, you're going to feel it so much because you're breathing out your mouth, in through your nose and out through your mouth. You're going to feel it so much that you're going to stick your tongue out at the end, just so you can get that last bit of air out of those lungs. So let's breathe in, big breath, and out. Yes. Again, and out, all the way. Last time, and out. Okay, and just return to normal breath. What we've done is we've just created the space in order to experiment the way that we're going to for the next few seconds. So what I want you to do with a 5 or 6 second breath in is I want you to feel the expansion, not just in your body, but in the space around you with your inhale. So inhale, hold, exhale, hold, inhale, hold. Feel the space, feel the silence. Exhale, feel the contraction. Hold, inhale, hold, exhale, inhale, hold. As you're going through that, when you take your time today to do that on your own, I want you to feel every one of those. Feel the expansion as you inhale. Feel the intake that happens as you do it, as you're filling up. And when you hold at the top of that, the space that hold at the top of your breath is very different after you exhale and you're emptying, you're contracting, than the space at the bottom of your breath. It's very different. Feel the difference between those 2 spaces. I find that the hold at the bottom of the breath, the pause at the bottom of the breath, is very quiet. It's very quiet. You can expand these spaces. These spaces don't just have to happen when you're at the bottom of your breath. The space is an awareness tool. It's a tool that you can learn to engage. You can learn to engage it and take it out of the space of breath and utilize breath in order to do that. But you can take that space and you can hold it in conversation. You can hold it in debate. You can hold it in moments in which you're having cognitive dissonance, where something's come up that doesn't quite fit. But instead of reacting, you can hold that space for contemplation, consideration, regulation. All of these things can be powerful tools. Remember throughout the day to come back to your breath. Use your breath as a tool. Become aware of your breath. Listen to your breath throughout the day. Is your breath short and shallow? It's telling you something through frequency. Are you agitated? Are you frustrated? What's going on? Is it low and slow? The frequency of your breath is telling you something. Bring awareness to it. All right. Have a very good day. I will see you Monday morning at 5:30 a.m. Thanks for joining me.